There is nothing worse when a dog is coming in for the first time and you have no idea what length blade to use on it. However, this guide is going to save that issue for you, because I've spent many years now having this issue, but I've kind of come up with my own formula and it seems to work. Fingers crossed most of the time. So let's delve straight into it. We're going to talk about blades and attachment combs here, and this can be a real pain in the backside, because the weird thing is, the higher the number of the blade, the shorter the trim. However, the higher the number of the attachment comb, the longer the trim. So that is not ideal at all. However, it doesn't really matter, because all you need to know is which one you are going to use. We're going to start with my 10 blade. When do I use my 10 blade? This is used for when I'm doing hygiene trims. I'll use it to clip out paw pads, and effectively it's for those areas you're not going to see but need to be short. It is very, very rare that this will be used on the coat, because it will take the coat incredibly short. It will leave 1.5 millimeters of hair left, and that is short. However, you do find some owners want it, but it is not something that you would go straight in for unless an owner specifically requests it, because they know how short it's going to be. Let's talk spaniels. They are always in the dog grooming salon. What length do you do? Easy, 7F them. Give them the good old 7F right there. It is a dream of a trim. It takes them to that lovely look you want them to have. This is if you are clipping them, of course, because quite often you're going to have to hand strip them. But anyway, if you're clipping your spaniel, I would suggest a 7F. It will leave 3 millimeters of hair on that coat, and that will look fantastic. You can keep a nice neat trim. You can trim them in the breed standard way, and it will look good. So I'll leave a couple of examples for you to see. And also, the miniature schnauzer, I would do that on a 7F, and there are other various dogs that will come in where you might fancy a 5F or a 7F, but say for a miniature schnauzer I would go 7F, and then other terrier type dogs I would start with a 5F, and if your owner asks for anything shorter I would go to the 7F after that. Let's talk your 5F. This will leave 6 millimeters of hair on the coat, and it's quite often used, I find. So I've got a lot of dogs who are like the terrier types who want to go into a 5F, and that keeps a nice sort of shortish trim, but it's not too short. It just gives them that terrier look you want when you're trimming them. However, some owners, if they request it to be shorter, will go down to the 7F, like I've mentioned earlier. I will find that occasionally a lot of my poodle crosses, they want a 5F. This is the worst thing that can happen. I'll be the owner. Oh hi, I want my dog to be short but not too short. What? What does that even mean? Do you want me to turn it into a Labrador? What do you want me to do? These are typical things you will hear from your poodle cross owner. And for any cockapoo, doodle, whatever, if they say they want them short but not too short, I will actually start with an attachment comb 3 over a 30 blade. And this is because that is sort of your standard length trim for your cockapoo. It leaves a bit of fluff, however, it's not taking too much off. It is a pretty safe bet going for your 30 blade on the clippers with your attachment comb 3, which is the blue colour. It is the 3/8 of an inch. It'll leave 10 millimeters of hair there. You may also find you want to use a 4F because it leaves a similar sort of length, but your attachment comb 3 is quite a common one. And this is also what you would do on the body when you were doing your pet trim or your teddy bear trim. You trim the body on an attachment comb 3, but you want to leave the legs longer, where I always use 2 up, so I'll go for an attachment comb 5 on the legs, and I'll also use that attachment comb 5 over the head, which you'll be able to see on Oscar. And then I've also got, when the dog comes in, they go, oh, no, actually I want them a little bit shorter for the summer, or the attachment comb 3 is a little too long for them, I want them shorter. That is when I'm going to hit my 5F blade. And luckily for you guys, I've got Luna, who looks just like Oscar, but she is trimmed with a 5F blade rather than the attachment comb 3, and she will look like this. There is not a massive amount of difference, but it will just suit the dog to look like it is. So general rule of thumb is for doing your teddy bear trim, you want whatever your body length is going to be, whether it be attachment comb 3 or a 5F, you then want to go for the legs and the head longer. So you want your attachment comb 5 if you've done the attachment comb 3 on the body, and then if you're doing the body on a 5F, I will use an attachment comb 4 for the head, and I'll just scissor it into shape afterwards. You will find some dogs will have an incredibly thin coat. So I groom a little Labradoodle called Button, who has an incredibly thin coat, and if I groomed her with an attachment comb 3, it would just completely make her look bold. She'd look patchy, it would look dreadful. So for her, I actually groom her with an attachment comb 5. So what I would do for the head for some other dogs, I would do that on her body, and then I would do her head with an attachment comb 7. So there is a lot of volume there, but actually for her, it's perfect because it will just keep that coat looking nice and fantastic. I mean, just look at her. She does look good in this trim. So you'll have some people who want their poodle crosses left in as long a trim as possible, and that's absolutely fine if they're going to brush them. So you can say to them, well, if you come in every 2 weeks, I'll give them the bath and brush and a little tidy up. That will maintain their coat. So quite often, if they want them long, I would go for an attachment comb 5, and then if they're not maintaining it, I will drop the blade length each time, because in the nicest way possible, it is their fault if the dog is not knot free. They don't want to have any knots on them, because that means you can't brush them out, because it is painful and not fair on the dog. And you could actually be breaking the law here in the UK, because you'd be going against the Animal Welfare Act, the 5 small animal welfare needs, one of which is you can't cause harm or suffering to the dog, which you would be doing if you're trying to brush out knots and mats. So for your owners, tell them that they have to maintain that coat at home. They want to be kept long, and you can groom them on attachment comb 8. You can not even groom them with clippers at all. You can just scissor over and get a nice finish, keep it nice and long, and that would look splendid. Let's go for the quick recap. 10 blade for those hygiene intimate areas, paw pads. 7F blade, spaniels, schnauzers, anybody who wants to go short. 5F blade, a nice average commonly used blade. You might go, if you're going for a short cockapoo, short but not too short, 5F, nice. If you're going for your general cockapoo, let's go attachment comb 3 on the body, longer on the legs to get that teddy bear look. Attachment comb 5 for people who want a slightly longer trim, or if the dog has an incredibly thin coat, because this will allow the coat to maintain looking full. And then finally, if dogs want them as long as possible, keep going up in the numbers for your attachment combs. Make sure you don't go up on the blades, because you'll be going shorter. Anyway, I really hope you have liked this one. If you have seen any value in this video, please give me a like, comment, a subscribe. It would mean the world. If you haven't seen any value, that's absolutely fine. Don't do any of those things, because then it will save you having any of my videos pop up again. Love you all for watching.